Hello Fitness ladies, today we're going to be doing a strength and mobility workout focusing on correcting your posture and strengthening your posture. So everything's going to be a bit slower today. It's not about doing a really intensive workout, it's about realigning and correcting any issues that we might be having from a lot of sitting down we've been doing recently. Let's dive into it. Okay, so now we're going to get started with a warm-up, just with some light dynamic stretches to get the body moving. Starting off with 20 seconds of arm circles. Then we're going to go into 20 seconds of core rotations, picking up the heel, pivoting on the foot, rotating through the core. We're going to do those 2 times together, then going into leg swings, 20 seconds on one side, 20 seconds on the other, and then 20 seconds of stepping high knees. So we're not running on the spot, we're just getting some movement through the hips. Okay, let's do it. We don't want to do anything aggressive or pulling on the joints.
I don't want to waste what's left.
Just focusing on getting the heart rate up and the blood moving.
Yeah. No, I don't want to waste what's left.
Gentle twist through the spine and the hips. Again, we don't want to do anything too aggressive or jarring. Making sure that we're picking up our heel and pivoting on the ball of our foot to rotate through the legs. We're keeping strong alignment.
And on we'll go.
Gentle swing back and forth. Plant your standing foot to the floor so your toes are engaged. That will help with your stability. If you start to lose your balance, just tap your swinging leg to the floor to regain your control.
And on we'll go. Through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Focusing on bringing the knees up as high as you can. We're not trying to move fast, we're trying to increase our range of motion. Okay, so now we're going to do some exercises on the floor to work through our thoracic spine. So a lot of issues we have in sitting is that the thoracic spine gets quite tight, we lose a lot of mobility, but we actually want it to be quite loose, so we're going to start there. So we're going to lie back on the floor, we're going to bring our elbows out to the side, palms facing up. We want to keep between our hands and our elbows on the floor and holding this position here, bracing our core so that our spine doesn't arch up. We're going to bring our arms up overhead into a shoulder press motion as high as you can without lifting your arms off the floor. So the goal for this one, you don't have to try and reach all the way up overhead, just as far as your body will allow. And you should feel your shoulder blades moving up and down as you move your arms up and down. Okay, let's do 30 seconds of this exercise now. Taking slow, deep breaths, team. Using the breath to help relax your muscles and work the muscles more. Focusing on the squeeze. We want to make sure that we're really connected and engaged with our movement. we're going to bring our knees up together, arms out wide with our palms facing up, and then we're going to stack our knees over to the left hand side first, and then we're going to bring our right hand over to the left hand, and then back over to the floor. And we want our eye line to follow our hand as we come across. So we're going to do 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other. Let's do it. Doing great work, team. Slow, deep breaths. Okay, now we're going to swap over to the other side, starting in the next 30 seconds. Okay, next we're going to bring our knees back up to center. We're going to bring our right leg out on the floor, left leg up in the air. We're going to lace our fingers behind our left knee, and we're going to press our knee into our hands, holding the stretch for our hamstrings for 30 seconds. Let's do it. Gently pressing your knee to your hands so we get a light stretch through the back of our legs rather than aggressively pulling our legs back towards our body. Okay, now we're going to swap sides. Other leg coming up, placing our fingers behind our knee. Next 30 seconds. We don't want to overstretch our hamstrings. Okay, then we're going to do our final stretch lying on the floor. We're going to bend our left knee into our chest just to stretch out through our hips. Let's do it. Another 30 seconds.
I guess you're back. Are you gonna tell me where you went? All the messages I sent with no reply. You're just gonna walk in.
Taking slow, deep breaths out to help relax the muscles and get a little bit further into the stretch.
The sorrows in your brain, 'cause I know you're on the run. I'll take the pleasure and the pain, your secrets to my grave. 'Cause you are the only one. 'Cause you are the only one.
And swapping to the other side, right knee coming in, holding on. Let's do it.
The only one.
Just a natural, gentle push. We don't want anything, again, overly aggressive.
The only one.
Okay, team, so now we're going to do a chest stretch and a thoracic rotation. So for the chest stretch, we're going to lie onto our stomach. We're going to go left arm out wide, right arm on the floor, feet up in the air, and we're going to lie flat on the ground, pressing into our right hand, relaxing our head on the floor. And here, we should feel a stretch through our left chest and shoulder. After the 30 seconds, we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. Pressing into our hand, taking deep breaths into our rib cage, expanding our rib cage out to help push the stretch a little bit further. Okay, swapping to the other side, team. Left hand on the floor, right arm out wide.
There will always be a place for you by my side, day or night. You know that it's killing me. Why do you always leave? It's not right. We don't fight, but I know what you've been through.
Okay, so now we're going to do a thoracic rotation. So for this one, we're going to go seated on our heels. We're going to bend over, bringing our right arm to the floor first. Then we're going to go left fingers on the temple. Starting from this position with elbows in line with our head, we're going to rotate up. So here, really important to keep the shoulder still. We don't want to lift the shoulder up and down. We want to try and rotate through the spine, lifting the chest up. So planting our weight through the arm on the floor, through our right arm. Rotating up and down. So don't worry if you can't get too high on this one. That's okay, the more you do it, the easier it'll get. So we'll do 30 seconds on each side, starting with the right arm on the floor. Bracing your core to protect your spine. Only extending up overhead as far as the body will allow. Take slow, deep breaths to help increase your movement, relaxing your muscles.
'Cause you are the only one.
Okay, team, swapping sides. Focus on rotating your shoulder blades out as we come up, in as we come down.
Stars in your brain, 'cause I know you're on the run. I'll take pleasure and pain, secrets to my grave. 'Cause you are the only one.
Okay, so now we're going to do some strength exercises. We're going to focus on exercises that can help strengthen up our hips, our core, and our lower back, which are all very essential in having good posture. So we're going to start off with some hip extensions lying on the floor. We're going to make sure that our feet are in line with our knees in line with our hip, good alignment. We're going to squeeze our glutes, keeping them squeezed all the way up, and we want to keep that squeeze all the way back down to the floor. So we don't want to relax our glutes as we come down. Really important as well that you keep your toes on the floor, so we don't want to lift our toes up as we come up. We want to, again, keep that even weight through our feet. After that, we're going to go into some lower abs. We're going to bring our hands behind our back. We're going to press our back to our hands, holding that position, dropping one heel down to the floor at a time, keeping our knees at a 90-degree angle. If that feels okay, we're going to do 2 feet at a time, but only if you can keep your back flat against your hands. After that, we're going to roll over onto our stomach. We're going to do Superwomans. Keeping our legs on the ground for this one. We're going to lift our chest off the floor. We're going to turn our palms out, opening up through the front of the shoulders, holding it for a few seconds, and release. So starting with our palms flat on the floor, then turning them out away from our body. Okay, let's do it.
Won't you take me home and give me wings to fly? We can be alone in the castle.
Almost at the end of the round.
This bed that I'm in feels too big without you. Don't know how to quit thinking about you. Those green eyes, sweet lips, your hands on my hips, our puzzle pieces fit. These sheets, your smell, can't be by myself. I'm asking for your help. What I need you to do is love me. Love me. What I need you to do is love me. Love me. We dance in the dark, but I see you clearly. My head is a wreck when I don't have you near me. Now it's too late, too loud. We move through the crowd. Best way out. Your hands all over my body. Whisper words, see. What I need you to do is love me. Love me. Yeah. What I need you to do is love me. Love me. What I need you to do is your hands over my body. What I need you to do is whisper words in fantasy. What I need.
Okay, so now we're going to do some kneeling mobility exercises. So again, if you need a pillow or a folded up mat underneath your knees just for a bit of comfort, you can grab that now. First exercise, we're going to bring our right leg out in front, and we're just going to be in a normal kneeling 90-degree position. Then from here, we're going to keep our feet flat on the floor in front, and we're going to shift forward through our ankles and shift back. So we're increasing the mobility through our ankle. Sometimes if our ankle's too tight, then our calves too tight, feet are too tight, so then we don't stand correctly. So we're just increasing some of that mobility, which will also help with walking. So we're going to do 30 seconds of each side. Once we've done 30 seconds of this exercise, on the same side, we're going to just go into a hip flexor stretch. So shifting forward, stretching out through the front of our hips, which can get quite tight throughout the day when we're sitting a lot at a desk. Okay, let's do it. Keeping our front foot firmly planted on the floor and keeping our front hip engaged and squeezed so that we keep the work through the hip and we're not putting any pressure on the knee. All the movement should be through the ankle and the hip. Leaning forward into the hip flexor stretch, sinking into the hips, taking a deep, slow breath out to help relax your muscles. Make sure that our shoulders are tucked back so that we're not rounding through our lower back on the stretch. Okay team, swapping sides. 10th round. So we're going to do a single leg kneeling hip extension. So we're going to start on our right leg, knee in line with our hip, left leg coming out wide. And what we're going to do here is tuck our shoulder blades back, keeping our toes pointing forward. We're going to sit back as far as we can towards our heels, making sure to take that time, really focus on the movement. And as we come up, we're going to squeeze our glutes to bring our body back up. As we come down, keep the hip bones parallel to make sure that we haven't got one side dropping down more than the other. So we're going to do 30 seconds on one side, going into 30 seconds on the other side, and then we're going to go into some glute kickbacks. So here, we're going to go all fours, wrists in line with shoulders, bracing our core, hip bones parallel. We're going to kick one leg back, squeezing our glutes. Really important that we're just pushing the leg back and not lifting up because we don't want to arch our back. This we're going to do on one side and then on the other side. We're going to do alternating because that will challenge your stability a little bit more. Make sure that our straight leg is out in line with our hip and our toes are pointing forward. We want to keep our chest up tall so that we hinge through our hip as we sit back towards our heel. Okay team, swapping sides. Make sure that we're keeping our glutes squeezed, our hips squeezed as we come down and up. We don't want to bounce off our heel. We want to keep our muscles tight and engage the whole movement. Make sure that our wrists are in line with our shoulders and knees in line with hip. As we extend our leg back, we don't want to lift our leg up. We want to focus on pushing our foot back. And as we bring our knee back in, we want to keep our glutes squeezed. We want to keep our butt squeezed. Okay, so now we're going to do 3 standing stretches. We're going to do quads, calves, and triceps, 30 seconds of each one, starting off with quads. So if your balance is a little bit funny, you can use a wall or a stable table or chair if you need to. We're going to start on the right side. We're going to lift our left leg up, holding onto either our foot or our ankle, wherever your flexibility is. Knees together, hips forward to get a stretch through the quad. After 30 seconds, we're going to swap straight to the other side. Then we're going to go into a calf stretch. We're going to step our right foot forward with our left leg back. We're going to bend through our right knee, keeping our weight on our hips, keeping the left leg straight so we get a stretch through the calves. So you want to keep the heel on the floor and just shifting your weight forward as much as you need. We're going to do 30 seconds on one side and then we're going to swap to 30 seconds on the other. After that, we're going to go into a tricep stretch. So 2 ways to do it. You can either go one arm back, holding onto your elbow with your opposite hand. So it looks like that. Or if you need a bit more of a stretch, you can go one arm back, one arm underneath and behind, fingertip to fingertip. So the stretch looks like that, wherever you're at. Okay, let's do it. Make sure we have our toes planted to the floor on our balancing foot. We want to keep our knees together so that we don't pull our foot back and overarch our back. Okay team, swapping sides. sure we've got our back foot on the floor so we can get a good stretch through the calves. Okay team, swapping sides. Just a gentle push back with our elbow or pull through our fingertips for the tricep stretch. Okay team, swapping sides. Again, we're just loosening up the muscles. We don't want any aggressive stretching, which can often lead to tighter muscles. Okay, we're going to go into our final round of strength exercises. We're going to do 30 seconds of each one with a 10-second rest in between, starting off with back squeezes. So we're going to come over into a bent over position, shoulders tucked back, arms out wide. We're going to squeeze our upper back at the top, releasing about an inch and squeezing again up towards the top. So really important to stay right over in this bent over position so we engage the core, working the full back. After that, we're going to go into a chair squat. So we start with our arms by our side, toes pointing forward, feet a little bit closer together, just underneath the hips. We're going to sit down into a full squat, into a chair position with our arms coming up diagonally out in front, squeezing our glutes, pushing through our feet, through our quads, standing up tall. We're going to bring the arms out in front because that's going to help keep our chest up straight rather than collapsing as we come down. Then the last round of exercises, we're going to go into a single leg balance, also known as a tree pose in yoga. We're going to go one foot on either the inside of our calf or knee, depending on where you are in your flexibility and balance. And you can either hold your hands out in front of your chest or by your side on your hip bones, whatever's more comfortable for you. And we're just going to hold this for 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other. For stability, make sure you keep all your toes planted, not gripping on the floor, because that will help with your balance. We only want to drop our arms about an inch. We want to keep the tension on our upper back. Small gentle movements, focusing on the squeeze at the top of the movement, holding it for a couple of seconds and release slowly, keeping that squeeze strong. Only coming down as far as possible without rounding our lower back on the chair squats. We want to keep our chest up nice and tall to increase our core strength and to make sure that our weight is through our glutes and our quads. Make sure that our toes on our standing foot are planted to the floor for stability. We want to plant and press to the floor, but not grip the floor. If if we start to lose our balance, just bring our leg that's up to the floor, gently tap it, and that will help maintain our balance. Any quick movements will throw our balance and make us fall. Okay team, swapping sides. Okay team, that was our posture workout. Hopefully we've realigned our posture after a long day of sitting. I look forward to seeing you in the next workout.